Welcome to AminAcademy.com. Let us do the history of Pandya Dynasty in that administration, society, and architecture and art. The head of the government was the king, a hereditary monarch who ruled with unaided discretion. discretion. The ascension to the throne was normally hereditary, sometimes through usurpation and occasionally based on unusual methods of choosing a king, such as sending out the royal elephant to select a person of its choice by garlanding them. The king could be crowned at any age and reigned as long as the choose to or lived. He was highly revered by his subjects and was even equated to God. The king, in turn, had onerous duties towards his subjects and was held responsible for any misfortune that befell them. The dynastic emblem of the Pandya was the double carp, which was used for all official purposes of royal authentication. Coins issued by the kings, seals on letters, as well as exported and imported cargo stocked in the warehouses, all at ports for his emblem. The king's court consisted of royal officers like ministers, generals, commanders, and accountants. His power was restricted by the five great assemblies. They consisted of the representations of the people, priests, physicians, astrologers, and ministers. The Council of Representation Masanum safeguarded the right and privilege of the people. The priest Parper directed all religious ceremonies. Physician Murattar attended at matters affecting the health of the king and his subjects. The administration. The territory of Pandyas is called Pandya Mandalam, Tenmandalam, or Pandya Nadu, which lay in the rocky, hilly regions and mountain ranges, except the areas fed by the rivers Vaige and Tamirabarani. The king divided his territory into a number of administrative units, each called Kuram. It was further divided into provinces called Mandalam, which in turn was divided into many sub provinces called Nadus, with each Nadu consisting of many villages. A locally inside a town or villages was called Ur, and each neighborhood inside an Ur was called an Cheri. While the king ruled over his entire territory from the capital, Madurai, he often placed one or more principalities, Kuram, under the near sovereign government of some senior members of the royal family or a feudatory. The village was the most fundamental unit of administration under the Pandyas. The affairs of village were the responsibility of elders who were not elected but were recognized and appointed based on their age and status in society. Now, further we'll discuss about Pandya's administration, society, architecture, and art. The Pandya dynasty administration was structured around a central government led by the king, with a well organized bureaucracy and a strong military. The Pandya Empire was a prominent dynasty in South India that flourished during the Sangam Age. There are some details about the Pandya dynasty administration. Political division. Pandya's empire's territory was divided into administrative units called kurams, which were further divided into mandalam, nadus, and kurams. Kurams were groups of villages, and nadu were sub provinces. The government, the king ruled over the entire territory from the capital, but the often placed some principalities under the rule of senior royal family members or feudatory. The villages were governed by elders, and each locality within a village or town was called an ur. The prime minister was called Uttaramand- Uttaramandri, and the royal secretariat was known as Yeluttumandava. Pandya Empire had a strong military to protect the kingdom from external threats. Brahmin settlement, king and local chiefs created Brahmin settlement called Mangalam or Chaturvedi Mangalam, which were given royal names and names of deities. Pandya Empire was known for its trade relations with the Roman Empire, Arab settlements, and others. Land surveys. The Pandya rulers established a prosperous kingdom through meticulous and land surveys and irrigation management. Here are some aspects of the Pandyan dynasty and society. Art and architecture. The Pandyans were known for their art and architecture, including rock carvings, structural temples, painting, poetry, music, and punch marked coins. Trade. The Pandyan had strong maritime trade networks, especially for pearls. They also traded with Arab settlements, Ptolemaic Egypt, Rome, and China. The Pandyan Empire was a major trading center in ancient India with a history of maritime trade that dates back to the Sangam period, 3rd century BCE to 2nd century BCE. 3rd century BCE to 3rd century CE, nearly 700 years. Location. The Pandyan Empire's strategic location, also maritime routes allowed for long distance trade. Trade partners. The Pandyas trade with many parts of the ancient world, including Egypt, Arabia, Roman Empire, Sri Lanka, and Southeast Asia. The Pandyas exported pearls, spices, textiles, ivory, and shells. The Pandyas imported horses, gold, glass, wine, silver, and silk. Pearl trade. The Pandyas were known for their pearl fishery, with Korkai being the main center of trade. The pearls fished from the Gulf of Mannar and the Pearl Coast were considered to be of the highest quality. Trade routes. The Pandyas used a Red Sea trade route to transport goods to Egyptian ports like Berenik and Alexandria. From there, the goods were shipped further into the Roman Empire. Evidence. The Western classical writers like Pliny and Elder, Strabo, Ptolemy, and author of the Periplus have written about the Pandya's maritime trade. The society. The Pandyans had a society with class distinctions but no slavery. People were divided into occupational groups such as washermen, carpenters, blacksmiths, and sculptors. Each group lived in its own locality called a cheri. The social life in Pandyan Empire, the society under the Pandyas was based on the traditional fourfold divisions, namely the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras. There were also other communities based on their vocations like Vellala, Ayar, Adiyar, etc. However, the caste system was not rigid. Generally, people were respected not on the basis of the caste but on the basis of their occupation. Despite caste divisions and political chaos during the Pandyan rule, there was a sense of unity among the people. We came to know that the village assemblies carried on many public activities smoothly. Religion. The Pandyan initially followed Jainism but later became Shaivas, worshippers of the Hindu deity Shiva. They also patronized Vaishnavism also. Islam's entry into a Pandya dynasty was peaceful, and the region's interaction with Islam began in several ways. For example, Kazimar Big Mosque in Madurai, said to be first Islamic place of worship in Madurai city. Kazimar Big Mosque was built in 13th century by a descendant of Prophet Muhammad, Hazrat Qazi Sayyid Tajuddin, who had visited a city from Yemen. This land was given to him by then King Kulasegara of the Pandya dynasty. The thatched structure built on the land given to Tajuddin by a Pandya monarch, the mosque contains the dargah of Sufi saints inside. Muslim rulers introduced arch construction, which changed the style of architecture in the city. Religious toleration. The Pandya dynasty practiced religious toleration, and the heretic religions lost their importance. Donation to religion. The Pandya dynasty donated large amounts of money to religion and temples. Pandya dynasty's architecture is known for its unique temple style, which was influenced by a Chola style. Pandyan temples are characterized by the following features. Rectangular ground floors. These lead into pyramidal floors above and are often topped with gilded roofs. Sculptures, Hindu mythological figures and animals are often carved into the rock and pillars around the temples. Vimanas. These are structured above and around the main shrine and can be single or multi-storied. Mandapa. These are pillared hallways or rooms used for religious ceremonies, music, and dancing. Gopuras. These are the entranceways into the temples. The Meenakshi Amman temple in Madurai is considered the pinnacle of Pandyan architecture. The Pandya dynasty ruled southern India from the 4th century BCE to 14th century CE and were based in Madurai. They were known for their silk industry and pearl fisheries, and their trade with other kingdoms and powers was supported by their control of the coast and Korkai seaport. So far, we discussed about in Pandyan dynasty administration, architecture, art, and society. We have done. Please subscribe our YouTube channel.